it works, isn't it? Okay. I've seen a lot of people leaving and say, yeah, it's like just for a student and crazy party every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, Edna. How are you
Works,
going
isn't it?
today?
Okay. I've seen a lot of people leaving.
Oh my goodness, sorry. I'm hearing double voice. Okay, hi. Hi Edna, how's everything going? Could you please do a small introduction? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Edna. Pleasure to meet you. Is this your first time in this class?
Maybe two.
The
I don't
second.
remember the second. Yes.
Okay. Where are you from, Edna? And where are you living?
I'm from Colombia. I live in Gold Coast in Labrador.
Ah, Labrador Beach. I love that beach. It's so amazing. It's incredible. I have
Yeah.
seen the pelicans. The pelicans, they are so crazy. I like that part of Labrador. Thank you very
Oh,
much for joining. Maria
thank
Angelica. Thanks to you. Maria Angelica, how's everything going? I know Maria Angelica. She has been with me in some classes. How are you
Yeah,
going today?
I'm good. I'm pretty good. I'm in the home today.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm
Did you have,
study and I will try do the mock.
my goodness, did you have holidays for this period for Easter?
Eh, I I had planning, but I was canceling
Oh no.
because
Oh,
my big son too. Eh,
No worries. Okay, that's nice. Thank you very much for joining. And we have Gloria. Gloria, how are you going today? Tell us a little bit. Where are you from? Where do you live?
Hi, everyone. My name is Gloria. I'm from Colombia. I'm living in Toulon, here in Brisbane. Yeah.
What is your favorite part of Tugung? Tell us. Do you like living there? It's a little bit, I don't know. Tell us a little bit. I don't know anything about Tugung.
Well, it's a nice neighborhood. Is Toulon village is close from my house, so it's okay. It's really nice because it's the train station near, so it's easy to get to others neighbors or going to the city. Um, yeah, it's a nice place. It's really quiet.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, thank you very much for joining this class. Today we'll be practicing about something that is called regular and irregular verbs. Tell me, have you heard about the term about regular and irregular verbs? Do you know what is the difference between regular and irregular? Have you heard about this or this is the first time? So tell me, what do you reckon? Edna, do you have any idea what is the difference between regular and irregular verbs?
a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell me whatever you think of. It's okay, no worries.
Yeah,
No,
I don't remember.
you don't remember a long time that you haven't practiced, maybe. It's okay. Hello, Jenny, Carolina. How's everything going today? Jenny, can you hear us? Okay, so we were about to talk about the difference between regular and irregular verbs. Okay, if you don't remember, it's okay. So all of them, they are verbs that they took action in the past. They were placed in the past. But what is the difference? When you have a regular verb, it's a verb that follows a rule, and the rules includes the ending ed. For example, you have the verb play, and when you transform play in the past, you are going to put it like played with ed, played. Or for example, you have the verb study, and that is going to suffer a little bit of transformation because you cannot put the y as it is. So you have to put I studied like this. But it follows the same rule that you have to add ed. So this is something that is called a regular verb. Okay, the regular are the verbs that follow a rule, and on the other side, you have verbs like the verb send, who is not following a rule. So they are saying sent like this with T, sent, okay? So this is not a specific rule. Do you have any other example of an irregular verb? Do you know other verbs that they have a different ending when they are transformed in the past?
For
So what?
example, be in the present and
Okay.
so in the past.
Yeah, okay. Somebody wrote me. My computer was unsettled. Don't worry, Jenny. Thank you very much. So yeah, exactly. Those are good examples about how this works. You have, for example, the verb sleep. What is the past of sleep?
Slept.
Slept, exactly. Exactly. So this specific verb doesn't follow the rule, you see. It is not ending with the ed, so this is something that is called irregular verbs, and the verbs that have the ed are going to be the regular verbs, okay? So we're going to be talking about the past. So you're going to try to remember. So what is the conjugation in every single category? He, the train, and Grand Central. So you have to conjugate this specific verb and you have to put it in the past. We are going to have regular and we are going to have irregulars and they are going to be all mixed up, okay? So we're going to go one by one. We go Maria Angelica, and after Maria Angelica, we have Gloria, after Anna, after Edna's, and we continue. I'm going to call you one by one to participate. Okay. Maria Angelica, so how will be the conjugation? Tell us the conjugation with the full sentence. So what?
He has caution.
So remember, it's just the verb, just the verb. Don't
I
put
just said, okay.
any auxiliary, just
Catch.
he. What is the past of catch? He.
C-E. Oh no, I don't know. No remember.
This is not a regular, so we have to say he cooked. Cooked. Oh, you can hear the pronunciation in these slides. Okay, somebody was writing on the comments. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So leave left. Thank you. Yeah, Diana was about the last. Okay, we can hear.
Caught. Caught.
Caught. He caught. He caught the train at Grand Central. Very good. Okay, let's continue with Gloria. This is your your example that you have just to transform in past. We are in past simple, Gloria.
So it's wrote, the students wrote the sentence on the blackboard.
Exactly. So we have to pronounce the plural sentences, the sentences exactly, and the pronunciation of
Wrote.
wrote. The W in this case is silence. Wrote is not pronounced. Write, writing. When you have these verbs in the W, you are going to have a silence. So you don't have to pronounce it. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Anna. John.
John forgot to bring his books to school.
Exactly. Another verb.
Forgot.
Forgotten.
Exactly. So you have forgot and the past participle forgotten. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Edna. Edna, the plane.
Anna eating.
Mhm. Okay, so it would be the plane arrived,
Arrived.
arrived, arrived. We have to exaggerate a little bit the D. Arrived an hour late. Thank you very much, Edna, for participating. Okay, let's continue. Diana, John. If you can't participate, it's okay. You can put it on the chat box as well. You can write it, your participations, and I'm going to read it for you. Okay, no worries, no worries. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Maybe Diana is a little bit busy. Jenny, what's the answer of this one?
John answered all the teacher's questions.
Exactly. Very good. Listen the pronunciation.
Answered.
Answered. Tell me, what is the silent word? What is the verb, sorry, the letter that is not pronounced?
Answered.
Answered. There is one letter that we are not pronouncing. Which one is
W.
it? The W. Do you remember I told you wrote, writing is not pronounced the W? One more time. We don't pronounce the W here. We don't pronounce this E as well. We say
Answered.
answered. We just forget this one. We drop that. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue. Meli Belen, are you there? Could you help us to answer this one?
Make. I don't remember. Make it.
More or
No.
less.
May.
Made.
Hey, like made in China. Remember when you when you
Yeah.
see all the etiquettes, all the labels, everything is made in China. Okay, made. The secretary made some mistakes in the letter. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's continue. Evelyn, Evelyn, could you help us from just completing this one?
Run.
Okay, so yay, very good.
Rang.
Okay, the
Yes.
bell rang 10 minutes ago. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you very much. Okay. So all the people that just recently entered to this room, we are giving you one by one to participate. And we are just, if you can't talk, you can write on the chat box. Don't worry, okay? I understand that sometimes we are busy and we are working, we're doing something extra, and we are not able to participate. Okay. Let's continue. Meli, could you help us doing this one? Meli Belen.
Wait.
Yeah, you were right.
Waited.
Waited. Exactly. So we have the T. The T has two pronunciations. You have the pronunciation with T, waited, like British, or
Waited.
American and Australian, they pronounce waited with R. So you see, there is not just one correct answer. You can say with T, you can say with R. Obviously, it's very, very common to hear with R. Waited, waited. Yeah, that is the most common because American is very popular. And as we live in Australia, we are very familiarized with Australian pronunciation. Thank you very much. Okay, Jenny, let's continue with the next one.
The students went to their class when the bell rang.
Exactly. Very good. We had two of them.
Went rang.
Went because go it's an irregular and ring it's another irregular rank. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue with Evelyn, could you help us with this one?
Yep. Cost.
Okay,
Finish.
okay, guess what?
He's.
Cost.
No, the same. Oh, yeah.
Cost. Do you know another verb
Yeah.
that is repeated like that and doesn't change? Do you know another one that has the same rule? Cost in present, cost in past. Another example like that. You repeat the same. Sorry, one more time.
Read.
Read, it's a good example, but guess what? The pronunciation changes. Even though the writing is exact, the spelling is exactly the same, you're going to say read in present, but you have to say read in past. It's a good example, but we have to remember that. For example, do you know el verbo apostar? How does you say apostar in English? Difficult. I know somebody knows what to
It's
say.
bet.
Bet, exactly. So bet in present, bet in past. Bet. Okay, you know how to say cortar. Cortar is another example that doesn't change in present, doesn't change in past.
Cut.
Exactly.
Good.
Cut. Exactly like that. So you see, these ones are good examples of a verb that you repeat. His new car cost more than $3,000. And in present, you put cost with S. In past, you don't need it. You just leave it like that. His new car cost more than $3,000. Okay? Very good, very good. Welcome to this session to Jonathan. Welcome to this session to all people who recently joined. And we're practicing. We're going one and over, like every single is participating. So you have to conjugate this in past. This is what we're doing today. Okay, let's continue with Maria Angelica. Let's go.
I tried to get to school on time yesterday.
Wonderful. Let's check the pronunciation.
Tried.
Trying.
Tried with D. Tried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So when we have a vowel, this is a Y, but the sound is like a vowel, like try. When you pass it in past, you just have to add the D. Tried. I'm going to give you another example. Okay, cut. Very good. Another example of this, what I mentioned. For example, when you say the verb continue, continue in past, how is supposed to be pronounced? What do you reckon? How do you pronounce this? What would you say is the pronunciation of this? So this is a yeah?
Right.
Continued with D. Continued.
Mm.
So the rule is when you have a vowel, you have just to pronounce the D. Continued, followed, cried,
Right.
stopped. Exactly, just the D. Very good on that. Okay, let's continue with the next one. Who's not okay, so let's continue. Jenny Carolina, could you please help us?
We had a very good time at the picnic.
Exactly. Too easy. Have in past is going to be had. We had a very good time. We had lunch. We had dinner. We had breakfast. We had something. Very good. Okay, let's continue. What about Jonathan? Jonathan, can you participate? Can you please open the microphone to tell us this in past?
Sure, teacher. They planned to take their vacation in June.
Exactly, that's correct. Okay, so we're going just to add
Planned.
the D, okay? So you see the writing, the spelling is going to change a little bit. It has double N. Okay, let's continue with the next one. Okay, what about Diana? Diana, could you please help us with this one?
Yes, teacher. He took his vacation in May last year.
Exactly, that's nice. Thank you.
Took.
Well, don't pay attention to the robot. It's took. Yeah, take and the past is took. Wonderful. Anna, please help us with the next one.
He sent a present to his mother.
Exactly, that's correct. That is going to be part of a rule. The rule with END, send. Can you think about another verb that finishes with END? Carolina, tell me, what's your question?
Gaby, I have one problem. I have been always forget sent. I really confuse sent and sent. So I know sent it's in the past and sent it's present. But one of my big issues, I confuse. I know the rules, but I don't know if you can help me with any tips or any key to remind, because always I completely confuse.
Okay, can you give me an example where you confuse?
For example, sent I use for the present. I sent a present, and obviously for the person is talking about past, yes? But I had a problem, sent and sent.
Send.
So,
T.
yes.
You forgot the T.
Yeah, so I always got really mistakes with sent and sent. I know one is past, I know one is present, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at this. This is a very common problem. That's why we are practicing this today, because I know that this happens very often. Sometimes a lot of students told me like, I ask them, what did you do during your last Christmas? Or what did you do yesterday? And they are communicating everything but in present. They forgot the past. So, Jenny, this is a very, very common mistake. I'm going to give you a very particular recommendation, and this is for everybody for practicing the past, not just for your classmate, Jenny. What are you going to do? Every single night, you're going to take a book, whatever book you have at your hand, and you're going to write a diary. What did you do that day? Today, I sent a message to my friend Joanna. I traveled to the city. I visited my family, whatever, all the activities. Write down. So in that way, you just not practice just one specific verb, but you have to focus that. I have to be practicing that specific because this is your problem, Jenny. But for everybody, practice all the activities, everything that you had mentioned. I'm going to write it. Maybe I have mentioned that in other classes, maybe I haven't, but I'm going to share this homework with you guys, okay? So let me just share this with you. And this is an example that I'm going to share in the communities group. 1 second, there we are. Okay, I'm going to share this with you guys like in a screenshot right now so you can see it. 1 second, what I'm talking about at the moment. So when you're writing, you help your brain to remember. When you are speaking, you commit a lot of mistakes. In comparison with your writing, when you're writing, you are more conscious. You control better your language. You control better your grammar. So try to practice, try to write it many times, Jenny, as many times as you can write this word, okay? And something that I do when I don't know how to pronounce one word or when I'm got a little bit frustrated because I can't remember one word.
Shaping the forces of global.
I put it here, I put it in this specific platform, and I put it like that, and I try to repeat the sentences.
And sent him on a journey of introspection.
And send him on a journey of introspection. So I try to imitate the sound. So I repeat it many times as I can. For example, sometimes I have problems with very long words, and I come here and I put the word and I try to pronounce it many times so I can remember the right pronunciation. So there's a theory. I'm not inventing this theory, Jenny. This is a theory that exists. So there is something that is called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is when you put a lot of attention, you pay attention specifically in something that you're doing, and you're doing this repeatedly, like every single time, as many times as you can. So you have that problem with that word, try to repeat it as many times as you can writing, and as many times as you can in a speaking part, and as much as you can. Every single time, remember, I sent a present. The last Christmas, I sent a package for my family. I sent SMS to my friends. I sent a WhatsApp, whatever. But try to practice as much as you can. If you feel a little bit frustrated, that is going to be annoying. But like you're going to be remembering this because it's going to be very relevant for your brain. So your brain is like a machine. It is discarding information the whole time. If you don't help your brain is going to forget every single time. So that's why I recommend to do a lot of activities to remember, okay? Well, this is the homework that I recommend to do. This is for everybody. And this is not just for practice the past, that is as well for writing and practicing all the vocabulary that you can. So you're going to write a diary. You write a diary entries to practice expressing your thoughts and feelings in English. Sometimes we are like thinking, how do you say? How do you say? So when you write down your ideas, you're going to come up with, yeah, I didn't know how to say cerezas. And at that time you look for, that was cherish. Okay, cherish. Cherries. So now when you're writing, you're going to put that word that you didn't know how to say at the time that you were talking, and that is going to help you to remember in the future. This exercise will help you improve your writing skills. That is good for your writing skills. That is going to help you to use the past tense correctly and describe daily activities and emotions, helping as well your brain to process your emotions in another language, It's going to help you to improve your vocabulary, to feel you better, because this is like a therapy as well. Like you felt really frustrated, like oh, you had a bad day, you put it in paper and maybe you're going to feel a little bit better. So this is one activity. I copy already that on the WhatsApp group, so you can check it. So you have to write between 100 and 150 words. You can write it like handwriting. That would be fantastic if you can do that, or on computer. But my recommendation would be write handwriting because that is going to be more meaningful for your brain, okay? So you have to choose one day that was interesting, fun, or challenging for you. You have to use the past tense to describe what happened. Include every single thought, like I think that was crazy, or I thought that that was inconvenient, or I didn't like it. I feel a little bit overwhelmed. I felt angry. I felt frustrated, whatever you think, and that is going to help you to describe it. Okay, so we have as well other good use. So you are going to put some linking words like then, after that, because, finally, firstly, whatever linking words that helps you to describe the sequence of events. And we have an example that I put you. Today was a great day. In the morning, I woke up early and had a delicious breakfast. So I have woke up and had was since the beginning. I forgot that. Then I went to school and had an interesting English lesson. We learned about diary writing and our teacher gave us some useful tips. After that, I had lunch with my best friend and we talked about our weekend plans. The weather was sunny, so we decided to go for a walk in the park. We laughed a lot and took some nice pictures. In the evening, I did my homework and watched my favorite TV show. I felt very happy because everything went well today. I hope tomorrow will be just as good as today. Okay? So you can write something similar to that. And I told you, this is fantastic to practicing the past, improve your vocabulary because you're going to look for all the vocabulary that you didn't know when you were trying to communicate. And that is going to help you to improve your writing skills. When you start to including that, the linking words in your actual and real conversation, this is looking better organized. So it's a better practice for you to put all your ideas in paper and to help you in you practicing every single day, okay? So try to do it as therapy, try to do it as a purpose for you to improve your language skills. That is going to help you a lot. I hope this helps Jenny and hope that helps everybody who feels a little bit frustrated with the past tenses.
Thank you.
Hard. It's hard. I know. I have a lot of ideas. How can you improve? Okay, next one. Let's go. Diana, help us with this one.
What is the past?
Can you hear it? Yeah.
Yes, Helen needed a new umbrella for months, but she finally bought one last week.
Exactly. So we have needed, which is a regular, and bought. There's a lot of verbs that finishes with UGHT. You have thought, you have bought. Can you think about other examples that uses this specific ending? UGHT in the past. For example, si yo quiero decir yo traje el pasado, how do you say that?
I throw.
Broke.
Okay, brought. Exactly. Okay,
Throw.
for
Bro. What?
brought. El verbo traer. Bring and brought.
Bro.
Like this. Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Okay, so we had at the beginning we have caught. Do you remember this verb? Caught. Okay, brought. Can you think about another example? There are many of them. I'm going
Adult,
one more time.
adult,
What is that? Sorry.
aunque,
Although,
although, sorry,
but
I
guess
misspelled.
what? Although is not a verb.
Although, No,
And but although it has a different ending, it doesn't have a T at the last part.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thought, think,
Thought?
thought.
Think thought. I'm going to give you one that surprised me. This surprised me a lot. So this one, thought. This is the past of sick. And I didn't know that. And I say, what? What is this verb? I was surprised because of this. It's an irregular verb, okay? Well, we're going to see more, I think, in these examples. Okay, let's go. Yeah, for example, what is the past of teach? ¿Cómo se dice? Yo enseñé, el pasado de teach.
I told.
Taught. This one, taught.
Talk.
Okay? And we have thought with th, thought. And talked. So it's strange, isn't it? This is another verb. I'm going to put this for you so you can get familiarized with this one. Maybe you have heard it many times. Maybe you haven't. Let's have a.
They were taught to rethink their stress response as helpful.
They were taught to rethink their stress response as helpful. I come here and I try to imitate as much as I can the accent. Okay, next one.
What has California taught you about this movement so far? What
has California taught you about this movement so far? So when you come here, try to imitate the accent as much as you can, okay? To get the intonation. That's very important. Sometimes when we speak in another language, we don't know what is the appropriate intonation. Sometimes we tend to pronounce very flat without emotions, like I'm happy. I'm not, when I say I'm really happy. Do I look very happy if I say, yeah, I'm really happy? You don't look like connected with your emotions. So you have to listen how people articulate. They say like, wow, that's nice. That's incredible. That's amazing. A lot of emotion there. Exactly. Yeah, let's continue. Okay, next one. So what about Evelyn? Evelyn, could you please help us with this?
He told them that they had to study harder.
Exactly. Told, and they had to study. Very good. Amazing. Okay, let's continue with the next one. Jonathan, what do you reckon is this?
She broke a lot of dishes last week.
That's amazing. Okay, we have broke. Great. And Edna, let's give it a go with this one.
Oh my God. I make the cake. That is past.
Think. Can you see that? Think. Could you give me this one that I have on my screen? Can you see my screen? ¿Puedes ver mi pantalla? Can you see my screen?
What?
I have a screen in blue. Check in my screen. We have think.
Yeah.
What is the past of think? So what could it be?
The thing is thought.
Exactly.
Oh.
Thought. So we have to pronounce the TH. Thought. Every single time, practice your TH. Thought. Yeah, that's correct. That's nice. Easy peasy. Well, sort of easy peasy. Okay. So we mentioned that we have regular and irregular verbs. You know that, you know the difference. And you have an example here. I visited my grandmother yesterday. She went to the cinema last weekend. I visited. So what are the rules? The rules is you have to add ed. That is the very common rule. For example, play and you put ed. But what could you happen if you have dy, and then you have to transform in e, and you change the y by an I-E-D. Okay, do you know why this happened? Why do I have to put the y here? And in the other side, I have to change the y by an I-E-D. Do you know the difference? Somebody knows the rule? Jenny.
Because consonants, vocal consonants, or consonants, yes.
Exactly. That's a good rule. I know. I knew that somebody here in this room would know that. Okay, look at this. This is vowel and Y. Vowel, Y. And on the other, we have a consonant and a Y. That's why this changes like that. For example, I have the verb cry. Cried has a consonant and a Y, and when you put it in past, you have to change that. Cried. It's because of the consonant that you are going to do specifically like that. The same thing for studied. You have a consonant and a Y, and that's why you transform this. Okay? This is very, very interesting about English. English has a lot of rules. This is one of the rules that you have to consider. Okay? Okay, another very classical thing is to put just the D for a verb that finishes with E. For example, leave and lift, lived. And for example, love, I just have to put the ED, loved, loved. I loved that movie. It was incredible. It was incredible. Okay. And what happened if we have sound that has been stressed? For example, stop. Stop is stress. So you have a lot of intonation on the O, and that's why when you put it in past, it has double P. Stop. Stop. Okay? For example, if you are not really sure about what is the spelling, you can always check on a dictionary, like double checking that the spelling is correct. Okay, so these are the rules and some examples about how to use them. These, all of them that you can see on the screen, they are regular verbs. Okay, let's go. We have more examples of regular verbs, and I would like you to focus on this pronunciation. When we have this specific pronunciation, we don't pronounce the E. I don't pronounce the E. I don't pronounce here the E. I'm not pronouncing this, and I'm not pronouncing here. Okay, so try to say it like that, not pronouncing the E. Okay, so for example, the first one, how do you pronounce this? Everybody can open the microphone and pronounce it. How do you pronounce the first one?
Talked.
Talked. Exactly. We don't pronounce the E. Talked, talked, talked. This sounds like a T at the end. Okay? It's because it's very difficult to pronounce K and D together. So our brain says, I can give you a KT, but the KD is difficult. I don't like it. So our brain processes this immediately as a T. Talked, talked. For example, you have the verb walked. Okay, that is another example. Talked and walked. We don't pronounce the E. Okay, now what about the next one? How do you pronounce this?
Clean.
Cleaned with D, exactly. Cleaned. We just sound the D. Cleaned, cleaned. If I don't pronounce the D, I'm going to be pronouncing in present. Clean and cleaned, cleaned. I have to exaggerate the D. Great. Okay, now tell me, how do you pronounce this one?
Opened.
Open.
Opened.
Beautiful, beautiful. Exactly like that. Opened with D at the end. Okay, now what about this?
Jumped.
Jumped.
Jumped,
Jumped.
jumped, 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 jumped. I'm just pronouncing several times so you can remember. I don't pronounce the E. So the brain says like, I can't pronounce PD. This is difficult. I'm going to give you a T. You see that this is natural? Jumped, jumped, jumped. Because it's difficult for the brain to pronounce the D. The PD, it's difficult. Next one. How do you pronounce this one?
Watch.
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 Exactly. Watch. So I have to pronounce t, t, watched, watched. I'm exaggerating. I don't pronounce like that every single time. I'm exaggerating just to make you listen the pronunciation of that. Okay? So let's have a good time listening to this word.
Us, my sister and I watched them use drugs so
I watched them use drugs. So this word was next to the other and it was a little bit erased. Okay? Next one.
And as I watched through my binoculars,
As I watched through my binoculars, it was next to the next word, was a little bit erased.
He watched as he turned that company.
I watched as he turned that company. One more time.
He watched as he turned that company.
I watched as he turned that company. There you are. Very good, very good. Interesting. Okay, so if you want to be an expert in the ED pronunciation, I'm going to recommend you this chart. The first time that my teacher explained me, I didn't understand, to be honest. I was like, what? I was very distracted. I didn't get it. So, but now that I got it, I can understand and I can explain you. Look at this. What happened if we have a verb that finishes with T? For example, want. Want is a verb that finishes with T. Okay, so when we pronounce, we have two options. Pronounce American, like wanted, wanted, or pronounce British, wanted, wanted. So it's up to you. What do you prefer, wanted or wanted? But in this specific situation, I have to pronounce the E. I'm pronouncing everything. Wanted, wanted, everything. What happens if the verb finishes with D, like need, needed, needed, or needed, needed? You can pronounce like D, needed, or you can pronounce like R, needed, needed. It needed a second hand. It needed a second chance, wherever. But you pronounce with R or with D. But here the goal is to pronounce the E. I'm going to give you another example. How do you pronounce this word?
Decided.
Decide.
Decided.
Decided.
Decide.
Exactly. Decided or decided, but you have to pronounce the last E. Sí o sí me pronuncian la última E, ¿de acuerdo? Decided, 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 but you pronounce the E. I'm going to give you a difficult word. María Angélica se debe saber esta de memoria. How do you pronounce this word?
Which one?
This one.
Heralded.
Heralded, exactly like that. It's because I put it in one of her classes in the examples. Heralded, heralded. That's correct, exactly. So I have to pronounce everything, heralded. So every single time that you see a verb that finishes with T and D, I pronounce everything, everything. But this is not going to be the same case for the next category. In the next category, I'm going to pronounce T, just T. I'm not pronouncing the E, just the T. Okay, so helped, looked, sniffed, laughed, washed, watched, kissed, danced, fixed. Okay, so now it's going to be your turn. Okay, Evelyn, could you please help us with the full list? ¿Podrías ayudarnos con todos? Would you please help us with everything, but don't pronounce the E. Lo que quieras, pero la
Yes.
última no se pronuncia. Let's go, Evelyn.
Heart, lock, snip,
Sorry, 1 second. Sniffed, laughed, watched, kissed, danced, fit.
Exactly,
Adivina.
very good. Remember, looked, como si fuera una U, looked. Y
Looked,
laughed. ¿Ustedes
laughed.
conocen a ese pajarito acá en Australia que se ríe así como, como carcajadas? Perdón, mi imitación es muy mala. Pero ese pajarito que se ríe a carcajadas se llama laughing kookaburra, laughing. Entonces la GH suena como F en algunos casos. Por ejemplo, ¿cómo se dice suficiente o bastante? How do you say that?
Enough.
Enough. That's enough. Cuando ya estás harto, enough. Suficiente, basta, enough. Y pronuncian con F, una especie de F, porque en algunas partes esta terminación suena como F. Entonces acá es laughed, laughed, because of the GH. Okay, very good. Let's go. Jenny, could you please help us reading the same list?
Helped, looked, sniffed, laughed, washed, kissed, danced, fixed.
Guess what? With the watched, watched, watched. I have to pronounce just the teeth. Remember, this doesn't exist. Okay, thank you very much. Now, what about Jonathan? Could you please help us with this list?
The third one or the second one?
The second. We're still in the second.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Held, locked, snipped, laughed, washed, kissed, danced, and fixed.
Remember the T. Watched. Watched.
Watched.
Yeah. Exactly. You got it. You got it.
Yeah,
Very good.
thank
Very good. No worries. Look con U de uk. Look. Look. Very good. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the next list. In the next list is going to happen that we are going to pronounce the last sound like D. Cold, como el frío. Cold, como el frío de su corazón. Cold, clean, offered, damaged, loved. Exageramos la V, siempre exageramos la V. Loved. En español no tenemos diferencia en vaca o vaca, decimos igual, pero en inglés sí es importante porque hay palabras diferentes. Loved, used, amazed, robbed, claimed. You see? Just the D, solo la D, D. Okay, could you please help us, Maria Angelica, to read this list? This one, Maria Angelica. If you're talking, we can't hear you. I don't know if you're there or not, Angelique. Well, if you're busy, it's okay. Don't worry, no worry. Let's continue with Edna. Edna, could you please help us with this part?
Code, clean,
Clean.
clean, offered,
Yeah.
demand, love, use, mat, I don't know, pronounce it to this.
Amazed.
Amazed. Rabbit,
Robbed.
out, and climate.
Claim.
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 Claimed.
Claim. Exactly, very good. Ya me di cuenta que ahí tienes a una mini profesora.
It's my son.
As your son, un mini
Yes.
teacher.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so damaged. Damage. Damage.
Damage.
Exactly. Like language, como idiomas, language. Damage. Damage. Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go. Somebody else says, okay, what about Diana? Sorry, Anna. Could you please help us reading this one, the last column?
All right. All
Yeah, please.
right. Called, cleaned, offered, damaged, loved, used, amazed, rough, claim.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much. And finally, Meli Belen, could you please help us reading this one?
Called, cleaned, offered, damaged, loved, used, amazed, rubbed, claimed.
Okay, remember, damaged, used, amazed, robbed, and claimed. We don't pronounce the E. I'm going to put this word for a lot of us which we have been having some issues with this word. Damage viene del verbo damage, que significa dañar. Entonces esto es como algo dañado.
Between the ends of damaged and severed nerves.
Between the ends of damaged and severed nerves. Okay, another one.
Integrity and service. And so even though our building had been damaged,
This guy has a beautiful articulation. I like it. I reduced the speed, so that's why they hear a little bit strange. Don't worry about that. It's because I just like release a little bit the speed. I didn't like it, and I would like to appreciate better the pronunciation. That's why I reduce it. So he says integrity and service. So even though our building had been damaged, so he pronounced this word, okay? Very good on that. And finally, the last category that we have is the category with vowels. In the vowels, we are not pronouncing the E, we are saying followed, enjoyed, played, tried, continue. So if you have a vowel, you just pronounce the D, just the D, just the D. Okay, let's check it out. Diana, could you please help us reading the last part?
Sorry, teacher, what is the last?
Here. Follow,
Okay.
enjoyed.
Follow, enjoyed, played, tried, continue.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anna, could you please help us reading the last part? Anna.
Okay. Follow, enjoy, claim, try, continue.
Exactly. And I know that in Spanish we are not really used to pronounce or exaggerate the consonants. In English we have to use it because we have to do it because that is part of changing from present to past. It's more marked, it's more specific that in comparison with Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sorry, I have a question because is this song is something the same the present word? Because I can pronounce it in past. It's followed. I don't know. It's a little bit hard for me.
It's okay. You just mark
Second
the
and
D.
past.
You just have to mark the D, like followed. Just mark from the
Okay.
present to the past. Enjoyed with the enjoyed, played, tried. So in present, I follow. In present. In past, I followed. In present, I enjoy. In past, I enjoyed. In present, I play. In past, I played. So you have to exaggerate a little bit the D to mark the present and the past when you have this kind of examples.
Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you very much for asking. Okay, so we have on the other side something that is called irregulars, and the irregulars are a nightmare because they don't have any rule. So you have go, I went. Yesterday I went to the park. Have. Yesterday I had breakfast at around 6 p.m. 6 a.m. Sorry, 6 p.m. No, 6 a.m. Make. I made breakfast. I made. What did I do? Yeah, I made an English breakfast. I like it. I took an aspirin because I had a headache. Eat. I ate. What I ate? I think I ate. Yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah. Write and wrote. wrote, I wrote a letter, I wrote an email. Buy and bought. We were talking about this kind of verbs that finishes with UGHT. Bought. Run is going to be ran. I ran to the park, or I ran to catch my bus. I ran. See and saw. I saw a movie at my TV. Okay? When you talk about movies, you can use the verb see. When you talk about the television, you can only use the verb watch. But if this is a movie or a film, you can say see a movie or see a film. And finally, speak, and the past of spoke. Yeah, I spoke with one of my friends. I spoke with one of my customers. I spoke with one of my students. Very good. So remember, I gave you a homework. This is going to be very personal. Try to practice writing your diary. Try to practice using the verbs, using all the vocabulary that you have every single day, because you have a lot of things to remember. Like sometimes we are like, I don't remember, how do you say this? And I look for that in a dictionary and I forgot it. So if you got really frustrated, like trying to remember words, try to remember vocabulary one and over and over and over, it's better for you to practice writing a diary. Okay, try to do it as an example for improving your thoughts, your emotions, and everything related. You have that on the WhatsApp chat. You can practice over there. That would be amazing if you can continue doing that for yourself. I put it that again here. I was trying to get it. That's why I put in everything in a very, very random and annoying sound. Like I was like trying to click back until I got this. So practice doing that. And remember that we have courses of PT preparation, IELTS preparation, conversational courses, and we have these classes every single Sunday. Don't forget, invite a lot of friends so we can continue having this conversation. And remember, we have the WhatsApp group so we can get in touch over there. Okay, my name is Gabriela. You can find me like Miss Gaby in Australia on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. I put videos about PT, IELTS, Australia, everything. Okay, thank you very much for coming today. Hope to see you the next class. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Abby.
Gabby.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Gaby.
Thank
See
you
you next
guys. See ya. Bye bye.